Okay, so good morning. Oh, oh my god. Sorry. We just dropped TikTok. Hi, TikTok. Oh, sorry. I don't know if you're gonna hold very well today. Ugh. Is that too dark? Let me see if I can get one more bit of lighting. Do I have one more power bar? I feel like we do. There we go. This will be better. Because I feel like this is really dark. Okay, and then I'll bring this one up. That's better. Okay. Oh, hi YouTube. Why are you facing all the way down there? Hi Hillary. Yeah, I switched my live time to be at 7:15 in the morning because I used to go live on Tuesdays, and Tuesdays was the day before. I work in the salons Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, and every second Saturday. And a lot of you guys know I have a brain injury, and that's like working those consecutive days is like very intense for me with no days off. And then also going live on Tuesdays, which my lives are like a few hours, and then I spend a lot of time after those lives like editing content. So it ends up being like kind of a full workday at a computer screen. So I was like, this isn't really working, because then it ends up being like 5 consecutive workdays. So then I was like, okay, how can I change this? And also I was styling my hair, and then I would have to have my curls last like 5 consecutive days if I was working Saturday. So then I'd have to style my hair for my live on Tuesdays, and then I have to style my hair again Wednesday for work, and then have to have the curls last until like Saturday. So I was like, okay, well, I'm doing my hair anyways Wednesday for work. Why don't I just do an early Wednesday live? And so far the attendance has been much higher than I expected. So I think a lot of people, I don't know, like, what are you guys doing? I don't know if it's different time zones, but like the attendance has been pretty high for these morning lives. What are you guys doing? Are you like on a bus commuting, or are you in different time zones? I'm always really curious. Anyways, let's get started doing my hair. So the first thing that you want to do when you're styling wavy or curly hair, just so you know, my name is Gal. I'm a hairstylist. I work in a curly hair salon. Ooh, it looks like I have a mullet. You want to start, I typically recommend leaving your styling products right in the shower, having coffee, waking up. Awesome. Leaving your styling products right in the shower with you, and applying your styling products as soon as you rinse out your conditioner. Obviously, I can't do that because I'm on a live, so I have to be fully dressed. But I'm gonna literally stick my head under the faucet and use a cup to pour water back over my hair so that it is totally saturated when I apply my styling products. And that way my hair is gonna be super, super wet. You're in Germany, it's 120. Okay, so maybe I just have like a very international audience. I don't know. But anyways, it seems to be working out. Maybe I've just been getting a very international crowd on my lives. Who knows? 12 noon. I don't know, but I also record my lives, so if you're Canadian and are not able to attend these morning lives, you can always watch the recordings. Damn it. just lost some of my lighting. Okay, so I'm gonna rotate this a little bit, just so you can kind of see what I do when I stick my head under the faucet. Sort of, not really. I'm literally, it's so cold. This is how wet I want my hair to be when I'm applying the product. Now, I'm scrunching the hair not to scrunch out some of the water, but to actually press the water into the hair. Because sometimes my hair, like water will just run off of my hair. So I actually have to like scrunch it to like, you can't really see, but I have to scrunch my hair to get the water into my hair. So I'm not wringing out my hair, I'm scrunching it to get the water into my hair. And then once I do the last pour over, I'm not gonna scrunch. I'm gonna keep all the water in this time, okay? Okay, now I'm gonna decide what products I wanna put in my hair today. I think I'm gonna do a small amount of AG Recoil, and I'm gonna do Diva Curl, and I'm gonna do two different gels, okay? Two different gels that work really well together. Okay, so I'm gonna do this over the sink so that it makes a little bit less of a mess. You can do this in the shower, that's typically what I recommend. I would prefer a lighter curl cream, but this is all for right now for my hair, but this is all that I have at home right now. AG Recoil is a curl cream. It has a little bit of frizz control, a little bit of humidity resistance. It activates the curl. It's a Canadian company. The important thing with Recoil that you need to know is it comes out like this, but you actually need to activate it in your hand and emulsify the product. This is true of a lot of curl creams. You'll notice once you rub it together, it becomes like emulsified and like more product. So be very mindful of that with a lot of curl creams. You need to rub it together in your hands, maybe even with a little bit of water before you apply it to your hair. Otherwise, it's gonna go very like heavy into your hair. So always good idea when you're using a new product, try emulsifying it in your hands first. Okay, so soaking wet hair, and I'm just gonna evenly distribute that throughout my hair. And to make it a little bit less of a mess, I'm doing it over the sink, or in your case, I would recommend doing this in the shower. There, so you can kind of see what I'm doing in the mirror. Don't forget the back. I feel like people often forget to put product in the back of their hair. Okay, after I've applied my Recoil, currently I don't have all the products I like to use. All of my favorite products, I'm a hairstylist, I work in a curly hair salon. A lot of my favorite products right now I don't have at home. But I think I'm gonna use a little bit of the Lust Brands gel, the Irish Sea Moss gel. Honestly, one of my favorite gels. It's very moisturizing, it's a medium hold. It's not the lightest gel in the world, for sure, and it's not the strongest hold gel in the world. I'm gonna use about that much. I don't know if you can tell. Okay. Again, we're applying these products to soaking wet hair to make sure that they evenly distribute, and it's gonna help the hair to more naturally clump, and it's gonna help control frizz. If you struggle with frizz, you need to make sure you're applying products to absolutely saturated hair. And my hair in particular really pushes out water, so I can already tell that the hair is not wet enough anymore. So after I apply my products, I'm gonna add more water. If you can believe it, I just put cups of water over my hair, and I already need to apply more water to my hair. if there's one thing that I think people always learn when they come into my salon and get curl coaching training from me, they're typically surprised by how much water I use when I'm styling their hair. And you know what? Your hair wants it. It's thirsty. It's gonna retain the water. Okay, so I'm really making sure all of that is evenly distributed throughout. I have a really stringy spot right at the back of my hair. And then I might finish with a very lightweight gel. It's the Diva Curl Gel, if I can find it. Is this the Diva Curl Gel? Yeah, this is the Diva Curl Gel. This gel is a little bit lighter weight, and I find it pairs really well with the Lust Brands gel. It's a little bit stronger hold. It's easy for me to use too much of the Lust Brands gel, so I don't like to overdo it with that gel. But I like to add a little bit more of the Diva Curl Gel, which is much lighter weight, so it's hard to use too much of it. Just to make sure I have enough of the gel, especially at the back of my hair and through the ends. Okay, there we go. Now, got lots and lots of product in my hair, but I need more water. I'm not gonna worry about rinsing product out of my hair. The gel has water-loving properties in it. It's gonna grab onto the water. I'm literally going to add more water, dumping it over my hair. This is like when people do the bowl method, stuff like this. It's a similar concept. I don't like to use the bowl method because I'm actually gonna brush style my hair, so it's just unnecessary, but it's a similar concept. I want my hair to be soaking wet, and this is gonna help me control frizz. This is going to help me to clump my hair naturally, and it's going to make the next step much, much easier. It's also just good for your hair because it hydrates your hair. Okay. Okay, so I was gonna say something there about, oh yeah, why don't I just use a spray bottle for that? You absolutely can, and some people will have a lot of luck with an infinity mister. Oh my God, it's chaos this morning. With an infinity mister. Lately my hair, I've been doing some deep treatments and some masks on my hair, but lately my hair has been a bit dehydrated. And so I'm finding just an infinity mister just isn't cutting it. My hair just needs more water. And an infinity mister just isn't getting enough water. There's no way, like I'd be there all day spraying it with water. And so, instead of constantly spraying it every 10 seconds, I would rather just pour water over it, and it's saving me so much time. So, I mean, gauge what your hair needs. If an infinity mister is cutting it for you, then use an infinity mister. It's gonna depend on the head of hair. And in the salon, sometimes I use an infinity mister, sometimes I don't. Okay, so the next step is the styling step. So now we've applied these styling products to your hair. The next step is where we're going to add definition and control frizz. And this is the step that's going to give me the most longevity out of my hair. So again, I'm a hairstylist. I work in a curly hair salon. I don't want to have to soak my hair down again until like Saturday. Okay, so today is Wednesday. So in order to get that kind of longevity out of my hair, I do a step here called the rake and shake method. And it helps me control frizz and create really defined clumps in my hair that will make my hair very easy to refresh. okay? And when I say refresh, I don't mean wet my hair down and re-diffuse it. I do a dry refresh. So I'm going to use a Denman brush. I brush through the section. I'm actually going to do smaller sections. So I use a Denman brush to brush through the section. And I just shake it with my hands. I give it a little skipping rope action. And that's the first section. My hands are slippery from the product. And that's the rake and shake method, basically. Let me go to the next section. Okay, so I'm basically brushing through with the Denman brush, and then I rake my fingers through, and I start pulling, and I'm basically creating those individual curl clumps. I do a skipping rope motion, and then I drop it, and I go to the next section. And the key here is if your hair, it's much easier if your hair is like sopping wet. The biggest mistake that I see people making is their hair is soaking wet, but it's not sopping wet, so it ends up stringy. And it just like won't come together for them. The shaking movement is more difficult if the hair is soaking wet, but not like sopping wet. So I would like literally take a cup of water, drop it over the section, and try again. And I always describe it as a skipping rope motion. And the motion is really in the wrist. It doesn't need to be a big movement. I see a lot of people try to do these like big movements and it's very aggressive. It doesn't need to be aggressive. Like, look how small my movement is. So see, I'm creating those individual curl clumps. See how small my movement is. I think a lot of people go like that. And do you see how it all broke apart and got really stringy? So I'm gonna add more water to that section to bring it together again. Brush it with my Denman brush. Go back in with my fingers. Create those sections again. And I'm kind of going slow. Like we're just inviting the curl to reactivate. 1, 2, 3, that's it. Really gentle. If your hair is naturally quite bouncy and naturally quite curly, you might just rake and you might not need to shake. The purpose of the shake is to reactivate the curl if the curl doesn't immediately bounce back after you brush through with the Denman brush. So if the curl bounces back on its own after you brush through with the Denman brush, you don't need to shake. So I'm live on a few different platforms right now. I have somebody asking me on Instagram, how can I know my hair density? So let me differentiate between hair thickness or strand thickness, which would be like fine, coarse, or medium. Fine strands, coarse strands, which is the individual strand thickness, and density, which is how many strands are on your head. So do you have a lot of strands of hair on your head? Which is like, can you see that your scalp, or can you see your scalp? If you can't see your scalp between your strands, then you have thick hair. If you can see your scalp, then you have thin hair, right? But if you have thin strands, then when you roll an individual strand between your fingers, you probably can't feel it, or you can barely feel it. If you have coarse strands, it's probably quite prominent when you roll it between your fingers. And then of course, a lot of people just have medium. They might just be in between. Like for example, I don't have coarse and I don't have fine. I'm just medium. And also, some people have a mixture, and that can be very challenging to address. You know what? I think this is something that gets missed a lot. Not everybody has one porosity on their head. Not everybody has one strand thickness on their head. Not everybody is only fine hair. Not everybody is only low porosity hair. You can have multiple porosities on your head, just like you can have multiple strand thicknesses on your head. You can have both fine and coarse hair on your head. It happens, it is frustrating, but it is totally normal. And it also might mean you literally have to treat those different areas of your head like different heads of hair. I've had clients come in who literally have to put different products on different parts of their head because the hair is just so different on those different areas of their hair. Okay, so as a reminder, we're just going around right now, and we're not so much trying to encourage the curl. I think some people get really bogged down as they go through their hair right now and trying to make every single curl totally perfect. And that's really not the goal right now. We're not trying to create perfect curls all around your head. What we are trying to do is define the curls. So we're trying to tell all the curls like what their clumps are right now, and we're trying to eliminate any wet frizz, okay? If you go around right now and try to make every single curl perfect, this is gonna take forever. So don't worry about all the ends being perfect like ringlets. You're really just trying to get, like we're not scrunching right now. I can already feel that everything is getting a little too dry. Do I have a spray bottle? One second, let me grab a spray bottle. Where are all my spray bottles? I might not have a spray bottle. You're really just trying to create individual defined curl clumps right now, so that when the time comes that later on when we scrunch, the definition is there and the frizz control is there. Scrunching will encourage the curl. This creates definition and frizz control. Do you stretch the hair while raking? What are you asking? Like, am I actively trying to stretch the hair, or does raking stretch the hair? 1 second, I'm getting my sleeves all wet. When separating before the twist. No. No. I can slow it down for you and show you what I do. So my hair is already getting too dry. I'm having to add a lot of water as I go, so I'm actually gonna go back in. I'll show you what I do. It's just slowing me down too much. I don't know why my hair is drying so quickly today. Maybe I'm just taking too long. So I'm literally just gonna go in, take a little bit of water, and just pour it over this section again. And hopefully that will help. And I stand in my bathroom on a towel while I'm working. I saw videos of Denman and they stretch, pull the hair, like giving it tension. So there's different techniques using a Denman brush. Oh, Yasmina, that makes me so happy. Yasmina says, I stumbled upon your lives months ago and now I've been getting compliments on my hair constantly. That's awesome. Okay, so there's different techniques of using a Denman brush. So you can it is good, like, if you want a little bit of tension when you're brushing with a Denman brush. Maybe that's what you mean. Just to smooth the wet frizz. Then when I'm brushing through, when I'm raking, I have a little bit of tension just to create the curl clumps. And I'm using this hand just to make sure that the sections that I'm creating aren't stringy. You want these sections, I can't really see what I'm doing back there, but these 4 curl clumps that I'm creating, I don't want them to be stringy. Now, because the back of my head has a tendency to get stringy, I am going to finger curl each of these. I've been having issues with the back of my head getting stringy. So hopefully that will help. Move to the next section. But guys, I don't know if you can tell how wet I'm keeping my hair as I move through these sections. Like, we're not talking like damp. We're not talking saturated. We're talking soaking wet. Like, I don't know how my shirt is still dry right now. Usually in these lives, I'm soaking wet. I'm really finger curling all of the back sections here because I've really been having issues with the back of my head getting stringy. So I'm really gonna finger curl this whole back section. Again, I'm not going to there we go. And again, I do not do this with my hair every single day, guys. This is once a week. So yes, it takes a little bit of time, but I get like basically 3/4 of a week of longevity out of my hair when I do this. If you're somebody you don't get as much longevity out of your style, you probably wouldn't spend like, you know, the way I'm finger curling the back of my hair, stuff like that. Like, you wouldn't spend as much time on that stuff. You would just rake and shake all the way through, and that you can do in about 10 minutes. Because you can absolutely rake and shake your whole head in 10 minutes, no problem. If you're just going through and rake and shaking the whole thing without finger curling any of it. But because I'm pretty good at getting longevity out of my style, I don't mind spending a little bit more time on finger curling a few sections. Now, I should also mention, you absolutely don't have to rake and do the rake and shake. If you just want to apply your products to soaking wet hair, once your hair is healthy, the rake and shake will really help with transitioning hair. If your hair is still damaged or anything like that, and you have areas that you're really struggling with, the rake and shake will hugely help with that transitioning hair. But once your hair is healthy, if you just apply your products to soaking wet hair and scrunch, and then if you want to finger curl or rake and shake just a few face framing sections, even that will make a massive difference. Hi, Kaylin. The products that I'm using today are Recoil by AG, and then I used a mixture of Diva Curl and Les Brand's Irish Sea Moss Gel. Diva Curl Ultra Defining Gel and Les Brand's Irish Sea Moss Gel. So funny, people are always like, aren't your nails so impractical? Do you see how perfect a part I just made? Nails are so practical for hairstylists. Okay, so I'm just finishing the last little bit here. Yes, I always wear a bonnet when I'm sleeping. Always, always, always. Whether I have my hair straightened, whether I wear it curly, it makes a massive difference. I think everybody should, to be honest. It's absolute genius. It makes a massive difference in how much it protects your hair from frizz while you're sleeping. Yes, I do diffuse my hair. So the reason I diffuse my hair, whether or not you diffuse, in my opinion, whether or not you diffuse comes down to a few things. If you're struggling with your hair being frizzier than you would like it to be, and your hair takes longer than like 2 hours to air dry, then I would recommend diffusing for you. That's one thing. If you want your hair to be curlier than it is naturally, or you want your hair to have more volume than it does naturally, then I would recommend diffusing for you. If you want your hair to have less volume than it does naturally, then you don't necessarily need to diffuse. Or if your hair like naturally dries in like 2 hours or less, then you might be able to come up with a really good air dry routine. Does that make sense? So like, does everyone need to diffuse? No. If you naturally have very curly hair, you don't want more volume, and your hair naturally air dries in under 2 hours, no, you might be a great candidate for air drying. But I think most of the girls who follow me want their hair to be curlier, they want more volume. So those are my girlies that I'm like, you're really gonna benefit from diffusing. Okay, so we're in the home stretch here, just getting these last little pieces. Oh no! Ugh. That's so annoying. The lens just popped out of my glasses again for the 7 millionth time. I'm getting new glasses. They're pretty much identical to my old ones, but I am getting them. And then often when I get to this top section, just because I'm a little bit extra, I like to brush curl a couple of pieces. You don't have to do this. Some people find finger curling just as fast. At this point, because I used to brush curl my whole head, I'm pretty fast at brush curling, so it takes about the same amount of time for me. And my hair does react a little bit better to brush curling. It kind of gives me curls that almost look like they've been done with a curling iron. You don't have to do that. I also, this section of my head is the section that is the least curly, so they tend to stay a little bit better when I do them with when I do wrap them around the handle like this. So I put them through the handle, through the bristles one time, never wrap them through the bristles more than once. Then I wrap them around the handle. If you only put them through the bristles one time, you will never end up cutting your hair out of the brush. People only end up having to do that when they wrap around the bristles more than once. Okay? Through the bristles one time, and then you wrap around the handle. Like so. And then we're almost done. Now my bangs are very stubborn. It took a long time to style my hair today. Hopefully it turns out nice. So, if I just rake and shake my hair and don't do like all these like brush curls and finger curl and all this stuff, it takes about 10-15 minutes, okay? If I finger curl the back sections, brush curl the tops, all this stuff, it can take anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. It's up to you how precious you want to be about the whole thing. It really is. If you just want to rake and shake your hair, you should be able to do it in 10 to 15 minutes. I tend to get pretty perfectionist about the whole thing, so I take longer, but you absolutely don't have to do that. But I will say you are going to have a much easier time refreshing your hair on day 2 if you take a few minutes and at least take 10 or 15 minutes and rake and shake your hair. And I hear it from clients time and time again. Okay, so now that that's done, you can take a t-shirt, a microfiber towel, a cotton t-shirt is what I would recommend. I have a t-shirt towel here. Let me just make sure I don't step on my glasses. Now, I typically like to scrunch first with my hands, just to really make sure I press the product into my hair. And you guys saw how much water I added to my hair, and did you see how no water came out? That's how thirsty my hair is. Like, I just scrunched my hair and no water came out, and you saw how much water we've been adding to my hair. Isn't that wild? So like your hair wants the water. And do you see how like frizz-free it is? That's by adding water. One second, let's see if we can add a little bit more light to the situation. There we go. So now I'm going to microplop. How does the hair on the back of your head stay curly and with volume after a night's sleep? I pile it up on top of my head in a bonnet. Okay, so I'm very gently scrunching it. I'm also not a back sleeper though. I don't know if you're a back sleeper. Okay, so you can see how gentle I'm being with the scrunching. This is the first time that I've scrunched my hair. Okay, up until now, all we've done was add products and then we rake and shake to create the individual frizz-free curl clumps. So you can see there's like no frizz in my hair. Okay, and then now everything is bouncing up, and this is the first time that we have scrunched to encourage curl. So we did the defining and the controlling of the frizz with the rake and shake method, and now we just did a very gentle and controlled micro plop, or like scrunching, using the cotton t-shirt. Just do a little bit more. And then that's it. That's it for the micro plop. Now, if you want, this is a great time if you work from home to flip your hair back and go start checking your email, frankly. One sec. Let's get my part started. If you have root clips, you could root clip and just go start checking your email if you work from home, and just let your hair start air drying. If you have some sort of an activity that you can do that involves a minimal movement where you're not going to touch your hair, that you could do for about 20 minutes, that would be perfect. However, your hair is wet, so every time you touch or like move your hair too much, you are going to create frizz. So if you have kids that you're gonna have to go start chasing after, and you're gonna be shaking your hair and moving your hair a ton, if you're gonna have to go straight into doing that, then I would recommend at least starting diffusing your hair right away so you can start to build your cast. But if you work from home and you can go do something where you can be immobile for 20 minutes, then you can go do that and just like let the air dry start without movement, and then come back and finish diffusing like after you've been still for 20 minutes, and that will make your diffusing take less time. Because if you can let it air dry for 20 minutes with no movement, that will cut your diffusing time, absolutely, by a lot. Sometimes I like to go downstairs and meditate for 20 minutes before I diffuse my hair, and I find it makes my diffusing only take about 15 minutes, as opposed to my diffusing taking like 30 minutes or something like that. So that is a great pro tip. If you work from home, go check your emails and then come back and finish diffusing your hair. Now, other than that, if you have to start diffusing your hair right away, like what we're gonna do today, then I would recommend, or like if you've got little ones, for example, let's talk about people who maybe don't have time to diffuse their hair all the way. I know we've got some people in here who are like, I just don't have time, I've got like twins. I do recommend, at a minimum, diffusing your hair until your cast is set, because if you air dry from here, I bet your hair is gonna get frizzy. I'd be willing to bet you're gonna get frizzy hair. Unless you've got hair that dries so fast. Now, the first rule of all hair is that when your hair is wet, like I said, every time you touch it while it's wet, it's gonna get frizzier. So if you just like leave the bathroom from here, start packing the kids' lunches, pick up your toddler's touching the hair, you go get dressed, all this stuff, it's gonna get so frizzy. So if you at least have time, you can grab your diffuser and cover diffuse. Until your hair starts to get stiff. That will make a huge difference. That stiffness is called your cast, okay? And it comes from your gel. And that gel, that like stiffness or your cast, it's a cast that creates a shell around your hair during the drying process to protect your hair from frizz while it's wet, okay? As soon as your hair is 100% dry, you can scrunch that cast until it disappears. So what I'm doing now, somebody said, okay, so what you're doing now is only if you don't have time to air dry a little. So no, what I'm doing now, I always do, but I would also do it even if I didn't have time to blow dry my hair all the way. Good question. Do not glaze further gel after micro-popping due to losing product to the t-shirt. No. You can if you want to, but I typically don't find it's necessary. It's very minimal how much product you lose to the t-shirt. So this is called hover diffusing. So you're hovering the diffuser about 8 to 10 centimeters away from your hair. I like to start upright so that I can kind of get my bangs and my part how I want it. You can do it with root clips if you like to. This is the Life In Diffuser. I've got it linked in my bio. The gels that I'm using, I have 2 gels in my hair right now. You don't need 2 gels, but I just like to cocktail them together. I'm using the Diva Ultra Defining Gel, which is a very lightweight, strong hold gel. I'm also using the Lush Irish Sea Moss Gel, which is a more moisturizing, slightly heavier gel that is medium hold. I really like how they work together. But you don't need to use 2 gels. Okay, so guys, what I was explaining earlier is if you are someone who's like, I do not have time to blow dry my hair 100%. There can be a lot of good reasons for that. Maybe you have very low frosty hair and your hair takes like an hour to blow dry. I highly encourage you to at least blow dry your hair until it starts like this. Hover blow dry until it starts to feel stiff. And that at least will give you your cast so that your hair is protected from frizz. Now, if when you air dry, your hair doesn't end up frizzy and you love the results you get when you're air dry, then ignore me. If you love your air dry results, then this is a non-issue. But if when you air dry, you find that it gets frizzy, then try hover diffusing for 10 minutes until it starts to get stiff, and then air dry the rest of the way. And this will give you your cast. You can air dry for a little bit upright like this, and then if you want a little bit more lift, after you start like this, you can go upside down like this for a little bit more lift, and keep hover diffusing though. And you're just creating that cast all the way around. So the products I used today were AG Recoil, Irish Sea Moss Gel by Lush Brands, and Diva Curl by the Ultra Defining Gel. Now, if you are going to finish with air drying, it is very important. 2 things. Do not touch your hair again after you finish hover diffusing. Do not touch your hair again until it's 100% dry, number 1. And do not break your cast until your hair is 100% dry. You will be tempted. Do not. It will make it so frizzy. Do not scrunch your hair while it is drying. Don't do that. You're making it frizzy. Thank you so much for the heart. Girls always want to scrunch their hair while it's drying. Don't do that. So today I'm hover diffusing first until I start to get that cast. So you just create the cast by hover diffusing. I'm just hovering with the diffuser. And then once you've got your cast, which is that like stiffness that you feel from the gel, if you don't have time to finish diffusing your hair, just leave it like that and don't touch your hair again until it's 100% dry. You can finish air drying like that. You're not going to have as much volume or as much curl as if you finish diffusing, but that is one, if you just don't have time to finish diffusing, just hover diffuse until you've got your cast. And then that's one option for my air dry girlies. I was talking about this earlier. At least hover diffuse until you've got your cast. Okay? Okay, so. Yes, Selena, you missed a time change. So I just wasn't able to do the Tuesdays anymore. But I will always post my recordings, as you know. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to pixie diffusing. So for pixie diffusing, you lower the hair into the mouth of the diffuser. Oh, that's awesome, Selena. So for pixie diffusing, you lower the hair into the mouth of the diffuser and you want to hold positions for like 15 seconds. So I like to hover with my hair on the rotational setting where it automatically rotates. I have a life in, so it automatically rotates between a cold and a hot setting. Otherwise, I would have it on like the lowest heat setting that your diffuser has. So like the warm heat setting. Do I layer the products I use? Absolutely. Typically, I would recommend using like a curl cream in a gel, or a leave-in conditioner in a gel, or like a primer in a gel, a mousse in a gel. It depends on the head of hair. So guys, if you're new here, my name is Dal. I'm a hairstylist. I work in a curly hair salon. She chopped her hair and got layers because of me. Life changed. So much fun. Rach says, I think this is where I go wrong. I tend to leave it in positions for 30 seconds, not 15 seconds, and I don't do it upside down. So on some heads of hair, I would leave it for 30 seconds rather than 15 seconds. It depends how quickly your hair dries. If your hair is very low porosity and takes a really long time to dry, I would hold positions for longer. If your hair dries really quickly, I would hold positions for more like 8 to 10 seconds. I think the biggest mistake that I see people making is not holding positions for long enough, and they move positions too much, and it creates frizz. So I would always err towards holding positions for longer rather than less time. I do think that flipping your head upside down, if it's something that you excessively can do, not everybody can, but if you can flip your hair upside down, I think it helps you get lift at the crown. So I think it can be nice if that's one of your goals, to get more volume towards the root, especially if your curl doesn't naturally go all the way to the root. It's not everybody's goal, but if you said you're getting somebody said they're getting wonky curls around this time. If you're getting wonky curls, I would say too, like, are you doing the rake and shake method? And if so, are you doing the skipping rope motion or are you just shaking? I find the skipping rope motion during the rake and shake method can help. I just got my first curly cut. I love it. I can get so much longer without washing because it doesn't stretch out as much. Yeah, getting layers or like a curly cut can really make a big difference in how much longevity you can get out of your style. I agree with that. When I have a fresh cut from my boss gives me a fresh cut, I can get a few extra days out of my style. Versus when I'm due for a haircut, I feel like I have to fully restyle my hair every couple of days. I definitely agree with that. Yeah, when my layers are grown out, I'm like, oh. Okay. I can tell I have a fresh cut because my hair is blow drying really quickly. My hair is almost dry. Yay! Yeah, so I did rake and shake. I applied my products to soaking wet hair. I did rake and shake. I also did a couple of brush curls on my hair today. Okay, so from here, I start moving the diffuser a little bit more because I'm starting to try and like create a little bit of constructive frizz. I want to start building volume a little bit. So for the first like 95% of my routine, I'm trying to do everything I can to control frizz. And I call that like wet frizz. During the entire curl routine, I want everything to be smooth. I don't want like uncontrolled frizz or unconstructive frizz. But once I get to the last like 5% of the routine, once I haven't had any like unintentional frizz creep into my routine. Like you can see there's no like unintentional frizz that has crept into my routine. Like I'm very happy with the definition that I've achieved. Now, I want some constructive frizz to come in to help me build volume because I like a nice big round shape, right? Like I don't want my hair to fall flat. So now I'm gonna allow the diffuser to move a little bit more for the last little bit of my routine. Now I am gonna move the diffuser every couple of seconds because once the hair is dry, like it is now, you can touch the hair now. You don't have to worry about creating frizz so much because the hair has a memory now. It's gonna bounce back. It's touchable. So now I kind of keep diffusing as I break the cast. So rather than like diffuse it all the way and then break the cast, I basically keep diffusing until the cast is broken. Anywhere I still feel that dampness, I'm just going in. They feel so soft. Like it feels like there's no product in my hair right now. Okay, and now I like to put in a little bit of a serum. This one is called the Super, I forget what it's called, Super Finish, I think. It's just like a silicone-free finishing serum by Evolve, and it helps with like frizz control. And it adds a little bit of shine. Recoil, Lush Brands Irish Sea Moss Gel, and Diva Curl Ultra Defining Gel to soaking wet hair, like dripping, saturated hair. After adding the products, I dumped water over my head again, and then did the rake and shake method. I'm gonna repost the live to my YouTube. You'll be able to find it on YouTube and on Instagram as well, the replay. Then I did a rake and shake method, and I did a couple of brush curls too, just to like add a couple little curly cues around my face. And then from there, I hover diffused and then pixie diffused, and that's pretty much it. So in total, guys, that took an hour. Not bad. That whole thing, that whole routine took an hour. Okay? Let's see, we've got a couple of little pieces that are being delinquents. So watch back, if you want to watch back the live, we talked a lot about different ways that you can save time in your routine. We talked if your hair takes a long time to blow dry, we talked about some alternatives to cut down your blow dry time. For people who were here since the beginning, you know that. Oh God. So you can go back and watch the recording. One second. Come look at in the mirror with me. What are we gonna do with this? Sometimes I don't like how the top ends up lying. How was it lying today? It's kind of weird. Actually, it's not bad. I think I just need to let it settle. I think it's gonna be okay in like a little bit. I've learned this the hard way. Sometimes you just need to let it settle for 15 minutes and it's gonna be fine. I think I just need to let it settle. Yeah, the curls be curling today. I think it just needs to settle for like 15 minutes and then I think it's gonna be fine. So I think I'm gonna stop fussing with it. Sometimes it just needs to settle. But it's very curly today. When ordering shampoo, if you have wavy hair, curly hair, what do I order? It's different. So I would pay more attention to like, do you have fine hair? Do you have coarse hair? Do you have previously lightened or bleached hair, colored hair? Like all that stuff is very important. Like yes, whether your hair is wavy or curly is important, but like whether you have fine or coarse hair is very important too. Whether or not you want fragrances is very important. Like all that stuff is almost more important, in my opinion. Like, are you okay with silicones? Are you not okay with silicones? Like, I don't know, like, yes, like the wavy versus curly is important. I don't just use one shampoo. Oh, the Lush brands. When ordering shampoo, if you have wavy, curly hair, what do I order? The Lush brands shampoo, they have only one shampoo. They have one shampoo, one conditioner. So that's easy. The only one that's different is the all-in-one product. They have a wavy, a curly, and a kinky coily. I prefer the wavy all-in-one. And that's their all-in-one product. And the reason I prefer the wavy is because it's lighter weight. The curly is slightly heavier. Which again, I think is kind of misleading because you can have wavy hair that's coarse, or you can have wavy hair that's fine. My hair is a mixture of waves and loose curls. So then, yeah. You're welcome. I've been using rosemary or chamomile tea to settle frizz. I usually air dry. Oh, that's interesting. I've never heard of that. I did cut it. Well, I didn't cut it. Marilyn cut it. I'm loving my hair short lately. I don't think I'm ever gonna go long again. Well, I say that now. But it's so much easier to style. If anything, I'm probably gonna go shorter. Yeah, Kim. So the difference between the wavy and the curly when we're talking about the all-in-one with less brands. So Kim is asking about the all-in-one formula with wavy and curly. First of all, they're wavy and curly all-in-ones with less brands. They're very, very similar, okay? The formulas are very similar. The curly has slightly more hold to it, but both all-in-ones are very medium soft hold products. There isn't a lot of hold to their all-in-one. That's why they came out with a gel, okay? So the wavy is slightly lighter. The curly is slightly heavier and has slightly more hold to it. The wavy is slightly lighter and more like a lighter weight curl cream with slightly less hold to it. And the curly is slightly heavier and has slightly more hold to it. Thank you, Kim. Yeah, the gel is honestly, I think my favorite gel. I absolutely love it. I want to get my hair cut so bad, but it shocks my hair and my curls basically disappear. That's frustrating. But you have to get your hair cut. It's really not good for your hair to never get it cut. Because what happens is you get breakage, right? And then that breakage at the ends travels up your hair. And you get tangles. And eventually you get damage. And then as that damage travels up your hair, it's just gonna get worse and worse. So the breakage doesn't just stay at the ends of your hair. And I think that's, like, I was under the impression that, like, when you get split ends, they stay at the ends of your hair, but they don't. If you don't cut off those split ends, they split, and it's like a pull on a sweater. It pulls and it travels. So if you don't cut them off, you're gonna have to get more cut off than just the end. So you do need to get regular trims. Yeah, it sucks. Shocks your hair and the curls basically disappear. Wonder what that's about. It shocks your hair. Why would it shock your hair? You know, I've heard people talk about that. I haven't experienced that myself yet, but I'm still a relatively new stylist, and I have heard other stylists talk about it. I just haven't experienced it myself yet, so I find that interesting. It's a weird phenomenon. I don't know much about it. Okay, well guys, thanks so much for joining today. My new live time is Wednesdays at 7:15. So I'm so glad you were able to join today. Yeah, my name's Gal. I'm a hairstylist. I work in Carp, Ontario. You are welcome to DM me if you're interested in getting more information about appointments. How often should you get trims? It's gonna depend a little bit on your hair. For most people, it's going to be between 3 and 5 months. 5 months is going to be more for my girls with like really long hair. And then 3 months is going to be more people with the shorter hair for the most part. But yeah, it's going to like be fall somewhere in that ballpark. Yeah. Okay. Have a great morning or rest of your day if you're somewhere outside of my time zone. Love you all. Mwah.